And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse.
Hello.
And yours truly, Robert Reich. Heather, it's good to see you again.
I'm happy to be here.
How
I'm
are you?
sorry I was out. I'm okay. I mean, ignoring what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
I was moving my mom.
Oh,
I know, and
how is
she did great.
She doing
She's
okay?
fabulous.
Great.
She's a cool, resilient woman.
She's great.
She's a cool
I think
chick.
she is
And then I got
extraordinary.
COVID. And then I got COVID.
You got COVID.
Yeah. So, but I'm back. I'm COVID negative. My attitude's negative. My tests are negative. It's going to be great.
But there is a large negative hanging over the country. Have you noticed?
Update me. What have I missed?
Well, you've missed. We'll talk about it. You haven't missed much.
God.
But I do think that there is this kind of this feeling that a lot of people have at the macro level. It couldn't be worse, or it could be worse. Unfortunately, it could be worse. But everybody's going about their business at the micro level, trying to exist, trying to move their parents if they have to move their parents, trying not to get COVID, trying to do this, trying to take care of their kids. But then there is this sense that we are living in a time of horrors.
I know.
I don't want to be too negative about it, but let's talk about what we are going to talk about.
Let's talk about the horrors.
But
the other thing too is that I'm always but you don't want to become numb to it. I mean, I'm so hypervigilant about everything these days, but then I'm also hypervigilant about not letting it become normalized. So I'm pinching myself.
Well,
I'm like, this isn't normal. Like, I feel like I'm constantly
how do you avoid normalizing, or how do you avoid getting numb? I think that's the more important question.
Well, first of all, I think it's on us because the media is not helping the cause. So that's why I'm constantly thinking, what can I do? And pinching myself.
That's interesting. When you say the media is not helping the cause, do you think that the media is holding back? It's censoring, self-censoring?
I think it's normalizing. I think it's false equivalency. I think it's
there's a lot of false equivalence going on.
And I think it doesn't do what you do in a lot of our videos, I'll take some credit to, is go out a little further and say, whoa, 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 whoa.
What's the context?
Okay, so, it's a shutdown over healthcare. Is it though? What are we actually talking about?
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay, let's start with that.
Is
it a shutdown around healthcare?
No.
Exactly.
It's not a shutdown around healthcare. It's a shutdown around power.
Yes.
And it has to do with the fact.
I'm writing that down.
And no, I mean, the reality here, and I've been through several shutdowns before.
I know
what shutdowns are. I was in the middle of, a very big, long, horrible shutdown when I was Secretary of Labor. And Heather, one thing that I remember burned into my memory is a lot of the federal workers going home. They did not know if and when they would be paid. They have families, they have obligations, they're working paycheck to paycheck, as 70% of Americans are working paycheck to paycheck. And many of them, I was trying to console them. I was Secretary of Labor. They were walking out the door. I remember some of them in tears, and I was hugging them. So the human side of this, just in terms of the federal workers, is just agony. And then you get the human side on the other side, which is the people who are losing the protections, the services, the insurance that they need and we're counting on from the United States federal government.
Right.
This is treating government workers and also citizens like shit.
Right. And I feel like in past shutdowns, there was a sense of like, okay, we're working on the back pay. We're still on your side. There's forward momentum.
Not this time.
No.
Now
this is punishing.
It's vindictive. It's punishing. It's vengeance, and particularly against democratic states and democratic cities. And you've got Trump and Vogt, Russell Vogt, the OMB director, saying, we're really now, this is an opportunity for us to sever, to disconnect, to eliminate, to get rid of these government workers. They are public servants.
I know, and they're cutting off funds. And like you said, to blue states, hello, there's no such thing as a blue state.
We are all citizens of the United States. We are equal citizens of the United States.
It's jobs, it's infrastructure. I mean, the stuff they're cutting off that they're saying is...
I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have already... who are at this moment not getting a paycheck and are severed. I mean, basically, they are either they've been notified that they are never coming back, or they are in furlough. territory, which means they don't know if they're coming back, and they have to be around and they have to be ready to come back. And then you've got a small group of workers who are deemed, quote unquote, essential,
Right.
who are still working without pay. And this includes the air traffic controllers, it includes a lot of the military people. But the problem with this old arcane notion of essential versus non-essential workers is it allows Trump and Vogt and others in the White House to say, well, if you're non-essential, you're non-essential. Why would we even have you at all?
No, that's not the definition of the term. Also, in the past shutdowns, I feel like they've broadened the definition of essential to ensure that more people could keep their jobs and could keep going. You know, you can have a narrow view or you can have a broad view.
And now
they're all essential.
and they're-
It's just non-essential.
Yeah, and now they're narrowing
Right.
the definition of essential. It is a terrible shutdown in a variety of ways. It's also a terrible shutdown in the sense that what actually created this shutdown, remember the last shutdown was at the end of 2018, 2019. It was under Trump. We've had 8 shutdowns in the post-war era, and 4 of them have been under Donald Trump. 4 of them.
Ooh, those are good numbers. I didn't realize.
Well, it's here's a man who
good,
doesn't
bad numbers.
respect his office and doesn't respect the government and doesn't respect the Constitution.
And
What do you
loves to say,
expect?
watch me do it. You don't think I can do this big, ugly thing?
And the 2018, 2019, you remember, was about his wall. He wanted to get money for his wall, and Congress, certainly the Senate said absolutely no. So there was and ultimately he lost that contest.
Yes.
People don't remember. He never got the money for his wall. And this one is officially about what? What is it? I mean, what does the public understand here? This is the issue in terms of public relations, in terms of who's going to get blamed,
And storytelling.
and narratives. Yes, whose narrative do you believe? But here's the point: the Republicans now own the United States government. They run the
trifecta.
House. They run the Senate. They run the executive branch, the presidency. They also effectively run the Supreme Court. I mean, the Republicans are in charge, folks.
They are driving.
And we're now in an experiment which the American public can see what Republican governance actually looks like. And it's not pretty. And they're going to be blamed for this shutdown.
Well, so the latest poll I saw from Washington Post said 47% blame Trump and Republicans for the shutdown, 30% blame Dems, and then the rest are unsure.
Well, if you get, it's inside the Beltway, inside Washington, there is an arcane question about, well, you needed 7 more Democrats to join with the Republicans to keep the government going
To get to 60.
because they needed 60 votes. And without the filibuster, you have to have 60 votes, and Democrats would not come up with the 7 votes. Obviously, the Democrats are not going to come up with the 7 votes, because if you keep the government going, what you're doing is essentially you are saying, okay, that big ugly bill with all of the cuts in it to health care, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, plus cuts to food stamps, plus cuts to a lot of other things Americans need.
Social safety net.
All sorts of social, and Medicare. Remember, $500 billion out of Medicare in that big ugly bill. You're saying all of that's fine. And giving the wealthiest people in this country a huge tax cut, perfectly fine. If you vote to keep the government open, that's what you're doing.
Right. So this is an opportunity where there's a little wedge where Dems...
There's a wedge. The Democrats finally have a little bargaining power.
Yeah.
And they're doing the right thing.
And they are. But so what are Americans hearing? Americans are hearing from the President of the United States on his Truth Social. So first of all, they're seeing a lot of AI-generated
crap.
But they're hearing Dems just want to give health care to undocumented immigrants. That's all they care about. They're Satan. They're terrible.
Which is a bald-faced lie.
Right.
Okay? There
So
is
break
no...
that down for
you
us.
can be... I mean, you could not, before or after, before the shutdown, after the shutdown, you could never give health care to undocumented people who are here in the United States illegally. That is not, I mean, yes, emergency rooms, we don't turn people away from
No,
emergency
and
rooms.
also Reagan had to do with that. He passed an act, thank you.
So you don't, I mean, it's a lie that what the Democrats are demanding is health care for people who are not here legally.
Right.
And that's a lie.
So what are they actually asking for?
The Democrats,
Healthcare wise.
then Democrats are actually asking that what was in the big ugly bill in terms of cutting so many people off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act get reversed.
Right. So all these subsidies are offered to help people pay for their health insurance.
Right. And the Democrats, not one Democrat voted for this big ugly bill. This is another thing that's very important. It went through on what's called reconciliation, which means you can get it through on 51 votes. Not a single Democrat voted for it. And I remember the Republicans in July were saying, oh, this is fabulous. We can get it done without Democrats. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now the Republicans are saying, well, it's Democrats' fault. You are not supporting us.
Right.
And the Democrats, I think, are logically saying, why should we support this travesty of a bill which takes health care away from, in fact, starting in January, if nothing is done, there are going to be huge millions of people who are not going to be able to afford
tens
any
of
health
millions.
care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tens of millions of people. Okay, so at the same time that we're making a story about what this is actually happening.
Well, we are not making up a story.
Well, you and I
Heather,
are telling the real
we
story.
are telling the truth.
Yeah, right. So at the same time that there's kind of a cloud around this, right? Also, the Dems.
Well, there's a lie. There is a big Republican Trump lie.
Right. And they're trying to create confusion. So why are they lying? They're lying to detract also from what's happening across America in terms of our democracy and what they're up to, right? And what Pete Hegseth and Trump met this week with 800 leaders. What is happening at the same time that we're government shutdown and it's all about healthcare?
Well, do you think the government shutdown is a deflection from what's actually happening? Have we ever heard of deflection from the Trump people and the Trump administration, the Trump regime before? Well, I think there is I don't really easily use the word authoritarian or fascist, but it is clear to me, Heather, that what is happening, and it's been happening really now for months, but it kind of broke through a sound barrier when Trump on Tuesday talked to all of these 850 top brass from the military who were brought in from all around the world. I mean, they came in and nobody knew exactly what purpose. And Hegseth gave, this stupid, kind of, we don't want beards. We don't want fat generals. We don't want women in combat.
No.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look.
It was a kind of politically incorrect, crazy, stupid speech.
Yeah, he literally said political correctness is gone.
And then
woke
Trump
is out.
And then Trump gets on. Now, we have a clip of this. I want you to listen.
I don't want to listen.
I know, but
Let's go.
Watch this.
And I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city.
Training grounds.
I mean, he's also incoherent. Absolutely incoherent.
When we go with the word war, and we want war because we want to have no wars. And I'm not a fan of some of the ships you do. I'm a very aesthetic person, and I don't like some of the ships you're doing aesthetically. They say, oh, it's stealth. I said, that's not stealth.
This man, Donald Trump, is losing it. I mean, seriously, big time losing it. I don't know whether he's going to, I think he's being propped up by Hegseth, and he's being propped up
Right.
by Miller and by Vote
And his
by
arms and his tiny hands are being propped up on his phone to
and,
do Truth
and
Social.
Vance. I mean, they're basically keeping him going. I think he is completely losing it.
Oh,
And I say this, he's 79 years old. This is not an ageist remark. I'm 79. I am losing something, but I'm not losing it like that. And I'm not president of the United States. Heather, this is big time serious. And I think that the people around him, and I think that the crazy part of him, really wants to turn this into a police state, America into a police state. And this is what they're doing.
and he said as much, right? So what happened in Chicago, which I have to, squeak my eyeballs when I look at the screen and see what's happening. It's so disgusting.
This is what you get when you have a police state. You get ICE raids on an entire apartment building in Chicago. It doesn't matter whether whether the object of the raid is a citizen or a non-citizen. They're treated the same.
Or a child or an adult, by the way.
Even the children are just treated like shit, and people are rounded up. It's the middle of the night, and what do we get from the Department of Homeland Security?
Oh, we get a sizzle reel. We get an advertisement of it. We got music, and they make it into this, I don't know, honorary, this horrific video.
It's a war video. It's what was happening.
And it's valor.
It's what was delivered by the War Department in the Second World War to America as propaganda. This is a propaganda video. Let's see just a little bit of this. So
that's enough. I can't take it.
Well, your tax dollars and my tax dollars are paying for this propaganda video crap. I mean, what is going on? This is part of a police state. This is one aspect of a police state.
And I feel like he's using the terminology of war a lot. I mean, we have the
War Department.
The War Department, but then also the war on drugs that's now happening, harkening back to Nancy Reagan.
And he's saying that we are now at war. I mean, he is unilaterally deciding that the United States, is at war with who? With Venezuela?
While the government is shut down. I think I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
That is a Coffee Klatch first. I apologize.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Or where I come from, Gesundheit.
And where I come from, thank you again. You're welcome. I can do it again soon.
I was once, I spent a summer in Brussels.
Mm-hmm.
And people around me sneezed. And I said in English, what do you call bless you?
Yeah.
And they said, they thought I asked, what do you call a sneeze? And they said, kachoo. And so everybody who sneezed around me from the rest of the summer, I said,
were
kachoo.
Teasing. Yeah, and they thought, this guy's
kachoo.
kind of rude.
Yeah. Heather,
okay. Where were we?
War. I mean, so he's declaring war on Venezuela. He's declaring war internally in the United States on anybody who is even suspected of distributing drugs. He's declaring war on democratic cities, Portland, Oregon, for example. He's trying to seduce and get Americans to basically take on his ICE agents. I mean, this is all putting America into a police state. And some cynics tell me that he is doing this because the 2026 midterms, he's worried about losing, and he would rather have troops on the streets, particularly in big Democratic cities where the mostly Democratic voters, to intimidate them.
Well, so First of all, I want to know how it's all going to end, but don't tell me that because that one could be grim.
Well, I'll tell you how the
Shutdown.
shutdown
That's
is
what I
gonna
want to
end.
start with.
The shutdown is going to end, I believe,
I read this in your Substack.
with air traffic
Yesterday.
controllers.
Right. So tell us why. The past,
Well, this is
we
what this
can
is what
learn from
happened
the
in
past.
the long stoppage, the long shutdown that occurred at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. It went for 35 days.
Mhm.
It was a record length. This was under Trump, what stopped it essentially was air traffic controllers starting to call in sick. Remember, they're not being paid.
Right.
They're under a lot of stress.
They're already overworked. We've seen so many examples. We know
Right
this.
now, they're even more overworked than they were in 2019. Their pay has been stagnant when they were being paid,
And there have been layoffs.
and they're not being paid. There have been, and a lot of them are at the end of their ropes in terms of their ability to function. So will a few of them
60-hour weeks.
60-hour weeks? Will a few of them call in sick? Probably. Are they actually sick? Maybe.
Yeah.
But all you need is a small percentage to call in sick. And what happens is what happened in January of 2019. There's a cascade effect of delays, flight delays across America. And once you get some delays, more and more delays, more and more planes are delayed. And what happened in January of 2019 is passengers started calling their members of Congress.
Right.
They were so upset. And Wall Streeters,
That's it. So
Because
it's
the-
people like me
the private
visiting my mom, but it's also the G6s
the
with
private
the private
private jets also are reliant on the air traffic controllers, and those private jets are also delayed, or they can't take off, and they call in to their members of Congress and their senators, and within hours, Trump ended that shutdown, and he didn't get what he wanted. He did not get funding for his wall.
I feel like we need to just a list of the times Trump didn't get what he wanted. Just pin
Well,
it on
also
his, pin it on
all
his
the
door.
times he caves in, he does always cave in ultimately,
But then he immediately comes up with a new catastrophe.
and he won't say he caved in.
Are you kidding me?
So this is, I believe this is how this one ends.
Yeah.
Because again, the pressures on the air traffic controllers are even greater than they were in 2019.
Right. Okay.
But I don't. But if you're asking the big question, how does the police state end? We
I'm
are
asking, but not asking.
we're into different and difficult territory.
Okay, so other things we wanted to discuss. We talked about, I think what's so scary around the police state too is that the rules of engagement are out the door. I mean,
There are
the
no rules.
the murder in the water. I mean, they literally blew up a boat.
17 people have been killed so far. There is no international law that permits the United States to decide that this particular vessel should be blown up. Because why? Because it's the evidence. There is no process to
right.
sift through the evidence.
You're supposed to go on board, see what's happening.
Well, that's what the Coast Guard
Yeah.
normally does. So to just blow up, vessels you want to blow up, it's an act of war, and it is a violation of international war rules, the Geneva Conventions, but Trump wants to do even more of it.
So it feels like this meeting was kind of either overt or covert. There are no rules of engagement. So let's go. Everyone.
You were talking about the Tuesday meeting
Yeah,
with all
the Tuesday
the
meeting.
top brass of
Yeah.
the military.
We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country. No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement.
It's not clear what was said person to person, what was distributed. The coverage was obviously very limited.
Yeah. We do know he said it's the enemy within, which is a phrase he's used before.
What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within.
This also ought to be understood in the context of Comey Trump
Yes.
going after his enemies, because this is part of the same thing. Using the Justice Department kind of weaponizing the Justice Department. But if you are in a war, if you envision this as a war in terms of you being Trump and the people who are supporting Trump, and Trump thinking that the people who are the enemies within are everybody who doesn't support you, Donald Trump, well, that's essentially a civil war. What you're declaring, in effect, is a civil war.
Right. And as we look around with what's really happened, I mean, he's helping out Argentina, right? I mean, he's still in, cahoots. He just met with Netanyahu. I mean, all these things are happening globally that he's enabling, and then he's making stuff up here at home. I mean,
Yes, and there's enough ability. He is creating enough distractions that we don't even think of, for example, Jeffrey Epstein. Remember Jeffrey Epstein?
Yes.
No, this is tumult and chaos.
Yep.
This is what Trump loves. And he loves there to be a new headline every day.
Every day, every minute.
That drives people a little bit crazy.
Right.
Because it's so antithetical to what we believe, what should be the case.
And this flotilla trying to get into Gaza with aid, and then Trump going on Truth Social and saying, Palestinians, you should just move. I mean, it's atrocious.
Well,
and young people are mad. People are saying we're getting to a point where finally people are saying it's not okay. And this is the latest piece of it, this flotilla.
I think this is a silver lining. People are saying, we are now seeing what Trump is all about. We're now seeing what the Trump Republican Party is all about. This is about authoritarianism. This is about war being declared against Americans.
But some of us are frustrated with that, if I may, because we reread Project 2025 and we kind of knew this was coming.
We knew it was coming. Trump said he had nothing to do with Project 2025.
Yeah, until the other day he
says, oh, yes.
Vote's the guy behind that thing I love.
Rush Vote.
You know that guy.
The famous
My
guy.
famous 2025er guy.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. Trump has revealed himself and Project 2025 . And you're absolutely right. We knew this. I mean, we've done videos during the campaign about Project 2025. Before the campaign. So this was nothing is a surprise. What the big surprise is to me is that it's all happening. In other words, during a campaign or even before a campaign, you assume that there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of hyperbole. I honestly didn't think we would get to the stage where Trump was creating a police state in the United States and intimidating, law firms and universities and museums and corporations and high tech and that there would be. Did you ever read Hitler's Willing Executioners?
No, but I know it.
It's a frightening book.
Is that my Klatch homework? I'll read it.
Please, because I'll give you a quiz.
Oh, I'll be back.
Okay, Hitler's Willing Executioners, because it's about what happened in the late 30s and 1940s in a country that was a very modern. Remember, I mean, Hitler took over a democracy that was a modern democracy, but the leaders of business, the leaders of culture, the leaders of institutions, universities, they all caved in. Nobody was strong enough, courageous enough to stand up to him. Everybody was afraid. And that fear allowed Hitler, to take over. Well, it's a crude analogy, but it is like what's happening now.
But so looking back, I mean, Hitler, his argument, it was so hollow. It was so evil. And there was he was weak looking back. So what we're looking at, on the one hand, I'm not denying, it is incredibly scary, it is incredibly real, and it is horrific. And when you see all these videos, especially, because we can all see it happening in front of us. But isn't this also, you got to be in a place of weakness if this is how you can't negotiate and you're having to drum up, fake internal wars.
Well, I think Trump is in a place of weakness, and I think he's personally very insecure, and I think he is, as we talked about, losing it. And I think the people around him who are propping him up, Steve Miller and Vogt and J.D. Vance and others, I think are aware that they have to prop him up. And I think they also are aware that they are in the vanguard of the anti-democracy movement.
Right.
And this is a key to understanding what's going on, because J.D. Vance, from a long time ago, and Peter Thiel, the Silicon Valley supporter of Vance and Trump, all of these people have been they've been deprecating democracy for years.
Yep.
So this is not new. This is not a new
But do you
movement.
think even they thought that it would get to this place?
I think that they are probably delirious with
happy?
excitement. Can you imagine? I mean,
God,
I think
that's
they are
depressing,
deliriously excited. But what also is happening, not only is is all this being revealed, and a lot of Americans who care about the rule of law, about democracy, about social justice, about not pulling people out of their apartments, out of in the middle of the night. Well, a lot of people, and not engaging in racial profiling, which is going on right now. A lot of people are saying this is wrong. You also have district court judges who are
I'm excited to get to
the
this.
unsung heroes.
You sing them every once in a while on the Klatch. It's so important.
But it's important that we
tell us about this week, because a
well,
few things came to the fore.
Well, it is important. I mean, I want to talk, for example, about Judge William Young, who is one of my favorite judges.
Did you know him?
He's in Boston.
Yeah.
No, he's after my time. I do know the First Circuit. I clerked on the First Circuit.
The first ever circuit.
The first circuit of the United States, which is New England.
Oh, it wasn't the one back in
no, it was
1790.
just New England. Well, it's New England.
It's different. Yeah.
And what Judge William Young did, it was a case regarding Trump's targeting pro-Palestinian student demonstrators for deportation. First of all, the judge gets, one of these crazy, all handwritten, all in caps, Trump has pardons and tanks. What do you have?
So it's a threatening note.
He gets. Well, what does the judge do? He puts this threatening note right on the top of his opinion, and then the judge writes, "Dear Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. Anonymous, alone, I have nothing but my sense of duty. Together, we the people of the United States, you and me, have our magnificent Constitution. Here's how that works out in a specific case." And then he goes on
so good
with this case. I mean, it's extraordinary. And then he says at the end, he says, "P.S. The next time you're in Boston," I mean, the postmark of this,
Right.
angry card is from Philadelphia, or the Philadelphia area. He says, "The next time you're in Boston, stop in at the courthouse and watch your fellow citizens sitting as jurors reach out for justice. It's here and in courthouses just like this one, both state and federal, spread throughout our land, that our Constitution is most vibrantly alive. For it is well said that where a jury sits, there burns the lamp of liberty."
Oof.
Well, these judges are holding the line, or trying to hold the line.
Yeah. Were there more? There
are several. I mean, this past week, actually, several
did. There a D.C. one?
Did speak out. There was a judge, Royce Lambeth, in D.C., issued a scathing ruling regarding the Voice of America. I mean, that Trump just ended the Voice of America funding, and said the court must offer an observation on the concerning disrespect the defendants, that is, Trump and his Department of Justice, have shown toward the court's orders since the entry of the preliminary injunction. It is the court's view that the defendant's disregard for its earlier orders to produce information would more than support a trial on civil contempt. Civil contempt. That's what is now being threatened by the judges.
Right. And then in terms of some other, just tiny.
And these are Republican-appointed judges, by the way.
I know. Well, so that gives me hope. The other thing is, what else? The No Kings No Kings event. So many people are talking about that.
Well, that's
2,100 protests, peaceful protests
It's
planned
on
across 50 states.
October 18th.
Yep.
And I think that, in normal times, in my normal life, I would have said just a demonstration that is not connected directly to politics, doesn't really have much substance to it. I think now it is very important that people get out and demonstrate on the 18th to show each other solidarity. Because the more solidarity we show, the less fear we have. The less fear we have, the more we can stand up to this administration. The more we can stand up to this regime, the stronger we are, and the less fear and reason for fear we should have.
And you've talked about that threshold, right? That it takes around 3.5% of a population to rebalance the power and get authoritarianism out.
And I think that if we can get 3.5%, certainly of the adult population, on the 18th, maybe we can. Maybe that's possible.
Yeah.
I think that that is going to be very difficult for Trump as a matter of just optics.
Oh, he'll hate it.
Well, he'll hate it, but again, whether he hates it or not, Heather, is irrelevant. Of
course it is, but
I don't
it's still...
care what is in Trump's
No.
mind, and frankly, I would not even attempt to guess what's in his mind. And as I said, I think he's losing it anyway. But I think that it's important for those of us who believe in the Constitution, the rule of law, social justice, to get out there and know that there are millions of others, that we are the vast majority in this country. We are not going to be like Hitler's willing executioners. We are going to stop this.
I love it. The other thing did you see that Mamdani video? His social team is so clever.
It is very clever.
Did you see that video that played during The Bachelor?
No, let's watch.
Okay.
You deserve better. You deserve to be able to raise your family here, to be safe, to travel where you need to, free of costs and worry. You deserve someone who works as hard as you do, who thinks about you every second of the day. That's the kind of mayor I promise to be. New York, will you accept this rose?
Paid for by Zoran for NYC.
Mamdani has extraordinary support among America's young people. It's not just New York young people. It's young people around the country.
Right.
This is an important movement.
Oh, it's important. And the things he's saying are so clear about so many things, about inequality, about Gaza. I mean, he's really been an incredible spokesperson. But then he says, look, I get how social media works. Watch me be the perfect mix of tuned in and irreverent and serious as all get out. I mean, it's good.
And it's also an example for Democrats who are running for office or who are in office to see that there's a very simple message. Affordability of housing and food and what people desperately need, affordability and healthcare. Make it affordable and pay for it by raising taxes on the wealthy, the rich, who have never been as rich as they are today. That's not complicated. That's not even rocket science. Just make that point.
Yes. Okay, well, it was good to see you. I'm glad to be back in our coffee,
Well, it's a tough
Klatching.
time. It's a very tough time.
Horrific.
Heather, and I want to just say it's great to see you. Thank you. And notwithstanding the difficulties of moving your mom and COVID and everything else, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I also want to say to you, watching, we appreciate you. And I know how hard this is becoming because I do correspond with many of you. I know many of you. I see some of you on the streets. I go around the country. I've just finished the major part of my book tour. And I know that you are disoriented. Some of you are actually outright depressed. And you're anxious, and that is rational. It is not irrational to be disoriented and depressed and feeling that everything is out of control, because it is out of control. all I can do, besides urging you to participate on October 18th, which I do and we have talked about, is to tell you that this shall pass. We will look back on this period as a very, very dark period in American history. But I want to emphasize what we've also talked about. The worse this gets, the more out in the open Trump and his enablers become, the more the rest of America, including you, can see visibly, powerfully, how awful this is. That is the beginning steps of a response, a reaction, a huge, huge return to the values that we care about. We're not going to go back to the 1950s. We're not going to go back as Pete Hegseth would like us to go back to the 1920s. We're not going to go backward. We're going to go forward. And every time we try to go forward in this country, there is a backlash. It's a conservative backlash. I am old enough to remember the McCarthy hearings, the witch hunts in the 1950s, and their backlash against civil rights and the backlash against the anti-war movement. But we continue to move forward. We continue to make progress. We will look back on this as a terrible period of time, but we will look back from a position that is much stronger than we've ever been. We'll see you next Saturday.